Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. I'm Joan McDonald, the Chair of the New York State Bridge Authority. Welcome, everybody. I will call the roll and then ask for a motion to open the meeting if we have a quorum. Maria Bruni,
Present.
Alex Berardi,
Present.
Lanny Gilbert,
Here.
Michael O'Brien,
Present.
and I am here. We have a quorum and the meeting has been publicly noticed pursuant to New York State Public Officers and Open Meetings Law. Do I have a motion to open the meeting?
So
Thank you, Maria. Do I have a second? Thank you, Lanny. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All right. Chris, do we have any public comments?
Not today.
Okay, thank you so much. Next order of business is our Community Appreciation Employee Recognition Awards, and we have 2 awards today. In fact, Jason Edmonds will receive 2. So, because he was unable to join us at another time. So first, we'll start with his June 8th, 2024 award. In recognition of your outstanding commitment to the health and safety of our community. On June 8th, 2024, J. Sean Edmonds identified an individual on the Rip Van Winkle Bridge who was in distress and threatening personal harm. STB Edmonds, was able to alert the command center and direct the individual off the shoulder and onto the sidewalk to wait safely until police arrived. STB Edmonds' nominating colleague, Alexis, stated that she wanted to highlight the great job Jay Sean did with responding to a subject in emotional distress. He sat and spoke with the individual until police arrived and was our first alert to this person, making us aware of the situation. Jay Sean. So the second one is you're being awarded with Mark. So we'll read yours and then we'll have Mark come up. So on August 4th, 2024, STB J. Sean Edmonds promptly responded to a severe accident at the Rip Van Winkle Bridge. Upon arriving at the scene, J. Sean saw a severely injured driver lying on the ground and without delay initiated response to ensure immediate assistance from multiple emergency units. J. Sean's swift actions and clear communication were crucial in managing the scene and ensuring that the injured individual received prompt medical attention. His efforts contributed significantly to the effective handling of the situation and the safety of all involved. This was J. Sean's first experience managing a major accident, and you handled it with remarkable expertise, demonstrating mastery of the skills he has acquired through his training. So for your quick response and actions on August 4th. A second, employee. And we'll do Mark, and then we'll take a photo of both of you together. Okay, so good morning, Mark. On August 5th, 2024, during a bike event on the Kingston-Rhinecliff Bridge, Mark Fortin demonstrated exceptional care and responsiveness when a rider experienced severe heat exhaustion. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, Mark swiftly brought the rider into an air-conditioned facility, provided essential first aid, including ice packs and water, and offered crucial instructions for self-care. Despite the rider's initial reluctance, Mark encouraged and facilitated her access to professional medical attention, ensuring that she received the necessary care. The act of quick thinking and compassionate assistance highlights Mark's commitment and skill in managing critical situations effectively. For your quick response and actions on August 5th, 2024. Congratulations. There we go. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
And I do want to state for the record that's on the, that our executive director, Dr. Minoshka Alcantara, is on Zoom as her flight. She ran into flight difficulties, and our board member, Alex Berardi, is also in a similar situation because of flight difficulties. So welcome to both of you. First up is to adopt the regular meeting minutes of July 18th, 2024. Do any of the board members have changes, questions, or comments? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve and adopt the regular meeting minutes of July 18th?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni.
I have to abstain because I was absent.
Okay. Alex Berardi.
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert.
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
Aye.
And I vote in the affirmative. The July 18th, 2024 meeting minutes are approved and adopted. Next up, we have the reports to the board. Minoshka, we'll turn it over to you.
You're muted.
You're on
Thank
mute.
you. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. This has been actually a busy month in terms of internal affairs. NYSBA has continued to work on its strategic planning. It is actually in the final stages of development. We completed it, but we are reading it one more time and looking into it. We hope to draft the plan with employees, board members, and other relevant stakeholders for the review and input. Hopefully we'll go in front of the board by the September meeting, no later than the October meeting. NYSBA also put in place, the HR department put in place a climate survey, and we asked our employees to fill out a confidential survey about the experiences at work and how it affects their job performance. After completing the information from the survey, Lauren Melendez, Tina Hockler, our HR director, we went to all the different campuses to discuss the findings with the employees, as well as to report and clarify some of the feedback received. We received many good ideas, which was a very good thing. And we are now going to be meeting as directors to see which of those recommendations we can put in place and the ones that we cannot, to look into ways that we could deliver the same potential services that they're requesting in a more innovative or different way that could accommodate both the agency as well as the requests. Domestic Violence 101 training, we partner with the New York State Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence. This workshop is designed to help participants better understand domestic and gender violence at our workplace, and they provided ways for us to identify different forms of domestic violence and how we could provide assistance in the event of domestic violence situation occurring at the workplace. I thought that it was important for all of us in supervisory position to understand how to deal with these issues when they surface during the office. In terms of community, again, this was a busy month. We had the National Purple Heart Day. We had the pleasure of welcoming over 20 Purple Heart recipients to the Purple Heart Veterans Memorial Bear Mountain Bridge. This event took place on August 7th, National Purple Heart Day, which commemorates the day that George Washington established the award in 1782, while encamping in Newburgh. We also had the pleasure to honor former Assemblywoman Sandy Galeff and the late Senator Bill Larkin, represented by his wife, for their role in sponsoring the bridge name legislation. The event was attended by Congressman Lawler, Senator Harkins and Rollison, Assembly members Eakos, Levenberg, and Meyer, as well as Putnam County Executive Kevin Byrne, who was the bill co-sponsor when he served in the Assembly. Thank you also to Commissioner Gilbert for taking part in our ceremony. It was so wonderful to include this event as part of our centennial festivities. We also had this month another Centennial pop-up shop. This was our second, featuring many swag options, including a limited edition Purple Heart Veterans Memorial Bear Mountain Bridge hat donated by Historic Bridges of the Hudson Valley. We sold over 100 items from the pop-up shop, generating approximately 900 whose funding is going to be used for the Centennial activities. Our dedicated chief engineer, Jeff Wright, will be retiring at the end of the year, and we have started the process of advertising the job posting. So this can be found in our job site, and it's been shared on job search platforms and with our partners throughout the region. After 10 years of service, Jeff decided that it was time to go. So we appreciate his service and are very sad to see him go. In terms of additional celebration, we also hosted this month a canvas painting event at the Fort Montgomery State Historic Site, where we had 23 people registered to create their own painting of the Bear Mountain Bridge. Thank you to New York State Parks and Grant Miller and Peter Couture at Fort Montgomery for hosting, and thank you also to Stacia Fernandez, the artist that led the painting session, for her expertise. Also, a huge thanks to all the staff who helped plan this event and the B&B maintenance staff for their help in setting up and breakdown, as this was a Saturday. In collaboration also with the State Office of Parks, this month, September 7, we're going to have our final Bridges to Park installment for 2024. This hike is focused on the Bear Mountain Bridge and the surrounding parks. There will be different hikes of various interests and ability. And so please consider joining us at Bear Mountain. We are again collaborating with the Office of Parks. We will be in October 6 to 10. Our NYSBA plan for ICEBOG 2024 will be taking place. Registration continue to be open, but hotels are booking up very fast, so we encourage everyone to register as soon as possible. A full description of the technical sessions is now available at the ICEBOG website. Cycle the Hudson Valley bike ride every
Hold on.
year.
Minoshka, quick question. Will we have Centennial swag at the conference for attendees to purchase?
Yes, we will have vests. Actually, we will have vests for the volunteers, and then we will have swag that we're going to be selling for the public that is interested in buying.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually gonna be having a pop-up shop of just ICEBOA swag.
Oh,
So there's an
Okay.
ICEBOA logo that we
Oh,
have.
good, good.
So that's gonna be appearing very soon.
good, good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But
I'm sorry,
we will be. Go
Hold
ahead,
on.
Michael.
is there a
I was
list
going to
of
say,
events that we should be attending as, like, would be really great if the commissioners attended, like, this event? I mean, I realize there's a whole bunch of technical sessions out there.
Are you sure you don't want to go to those technical?
I think he might.
Sit through this meeting, you can sit.
I'm sure.
At our next meeting, I'll bring, you know, like the opening ceremony, that kind of stuff.
The key items that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
we are hoping that commissioners can attend to as many sessions as you guys can. And we put you down as volunteers, so you'll be getting your swag when you come in. Please jump in and help us do whatever it is that you can to make the conference a more successful event. Actually, yesterday we were talking to, I'm sure that some of you, at least Chair, may know him, Theodore Solly. He is a MacArthur Genius Award. He works for HNTV, and he will be one of the keynote speakers for the conference. On day one, the following day, we will have several chief engineers to include Joe Keenan from MTA Bridges and Tunnels that are going to be discussing topics of interest, to all the structural engineers who do bridges, and obviously our own chief engineer will be moderating that session. So it's going to be an absolute success, and we hope that you guys can join us in as many activities as you can participate. So we'll be sending you the plan of activities, as Jeff said, next month, so that way you can plan accordingly within the month, which things you can be able to go. And going back to the Circle the Hudson Valley bike ride, another activity that comes to the Hudson Valley every month. Every year, Jeff Wright has been doing presentations to them about our bridges. And on August 5th, again, he did a presentation to the group in the evening to talk about the bridges and the history of our bridges, in particular, the Kingston Radcliffe Bridge. This month, we started a collaboration with the New York State Department of State in relation to a real-time data system for the Hudson River that will address maritime and bridge safety concerns, as well as climate resiliency data needs for the state, as well as the federal government. These will be in collaboration with, it's being spearheaded by the Department of State, but many other transportation agencies will be collaborating and participating in this effort. In terms of safety and security collaborations, this month was a busy month for the Command Center and the Safety and Security Group. Danielle Mass on July 30th attended the Dutchess County Emergency Preparedness Assessment and engaged in critical discussions related to emergency preparedness strategies. On August 1st, Rachel Abel participated in the New York State Agency Coastal Storm Hurricane Readiness Workshop. On August 7th, Danielle also attended the State Agency Communications Committee meeting, that a committee that strives to improve state agency interoperability through the sharing of ideas, best practices, and cross-collaboration. On August 7th, Danielle again and Jeff Wright attended a virtual symposium on protection of bridge piers from large ship impact. As you know, this is an issue that, after what happened in Baltimore, is at the forefront of our concerns. So we are participating and joining as many conferences and groups available to understand, gaps and needs in this field. In August 7th, Mark Fortin was invited to attend the Dutchess County Emergency Management Active Shooter exercise at Arlington High School, and he participated in that. In terms of contracts, we have 2 contracts being brought forth this month, the B&B deck replacement and the system-wide peer protection study that Jeff Wright will explain and bring forth to you. In terms of finance, the traffic in the month of July consisted of 5.75 million vehicles. This was higher than 2023 traffic by 279,000 vehicles. This was the highest of the past 5 years. So we are very excited that things are going, in a positive direction. This traffic consisted of 2.5 million vehicles utilizing Easy Pass, approximately 87%, of which 2.1 million was valid Easy Pass tag reads, and another 0.3 million was played images reading. In terms of revenue, in June 2024, the revenue was 6.9 million, 88% Easy Pass participation, 7% tolls by mail, 5% fines and fees, which shows an increase after our collection agency came into place. So this is a very positive direction for the agency. And this concludes my report in terms of activities. I don't have any activities to report this month. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nosa. Board members, questions? Michael?
I just want to make a comment about the end of the summer internship program, having seen it through the eyes of two of my friends' children. Thank you guys all for all you guys did. It was tremendous program, very transformative. They both. So thank you.
Good, good.
I think we're actually extending some of their, not internships throughout the year, so
Great.
we're keeping Emma. Who loves her.
Great news,
Um,
great news.
I would ask, I mean, we obviously, Jeff, we're really sorry to see you go. But I would ask, I'm assuming that Jeff will be, involved with the screening or hiring with the new individuals, that are before us. Is that
I haven't walked through the process with Minoshka, and Lauren, but.
I would recommend that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yep. Okay, we have nothing under administration. Now we turn to the engineering and maintenance, and Jeff Wright, first up is our system-wide paver place surface treatment and chip seal.
Right, so in our capital plan, we have money set aside to do paving at Mid-Hudson and Rip Van Winkle. We've selected Gorman Construction of Albany. They're on the New York State OGS contract for providing chip and seal pavement. We plan to do the walkway at the Kingston Rhinecliff Bridge, as well as miscellaneous repairs at the Mid-Hudson Bridge. The total cost for their work will be $252,675.50. And I guess that's all I have. Great.
Okay, questions, comments from the board members? Okay, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So, second.
Okay, motion by Maria and second by Michael. Thank you. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
I,
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up is the design services for the Bear Mountain Bridge deck replacement. Jeff?
Yep, so we advertised in the New York State Contract Reporter for consultants to do the design for the proposed redecking at the Bear Mountain Bridge. 25 firms picked up the proposals. They included prime, subs, MWBE, and SDVOB firms. We got a total of 3 proposals in. They were reviewed by our selection committee and our scoring committee, and also then oral presentations were performed. And based on the matrix that was predetermined, Thornton Tomasetti came out as the best qualified with a scoring cost not to exceed of $2,891,245.19. I do just want to add that Thornton Tomasetti is very qualified. They have done many bridge replacement projects for suspension bridges all across New York. So they come well recommended.
Questions, comments? Michael?
The 12% return rate on the package that seems lower than usual. I mean, I realize was there a reason? Is this a particularly difficult job? Or?
Well, it is kind of a specialized job. I mean, suspension bridges, you can't just replace the decks from one end to the other like we did at Newburgh, because of the way suspension bridges move and everything. It's a special thing. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments?
no, I'm impressed with his 12%. 3 out of 25 is that every.
Grade 6. We'll go back to that.
All right, I think, I'd like to just comment that I have also worked with Thornton Tomasetti, and they are a very reputable, international bridge design firm focusing on structural engineering and suspension bridges. I'm glad we had a good process in place, and, moving forward, and I look forward to seeing the plan for doing the community, involvement for, the suicide prevention. That's something that we'll want to talk about and bring back to the board and see where that goes. So,
Community involvement is a big piece of this whole process, and that was part of us picking, and how the matrix worked.
Mhm.
That's from.
Great. Okay, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution selecting Thornton Tomasetti as the design engineering firm for the Bear Mountain Bridge deck replacement?
So,
Thank you, Lanny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
I,
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up is the system-wide telecom consultants for the dark fiber leasing. Jeff?
Right, so broadband consulting is currently under a 3-year agreement with us. The agreement has 2 additional 1-year periods as an option, and we're proposing to execute the first 1-year agreement with them. Broadband consulting has been representing the authority for over 10 years in this field. They've brought in over $5 million of fiber leasing to date, and we're very happy with the work that they've done. They continue to look into potential fiber leasers for the Kingston Rhinecliff Bridge, which would be a new bridge to put fiber on for us. So we're proposing a not to exceed amount of $75,000 for the 1-year extension.
Questions, comments from the board? All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
second,
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
I,
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up, we have the system-wide load rating updates. Jeff?
So Majeski Masters, our general consultant, was awarded back in April 2022 to perform a level 1 load rating for the Mid-Hudson Bridge and its approaches. That was a not to exceed amount of $238,258.27. The scope of work was to update the ratings which were done in the 1990s. So they did that work, and then in the process of doing that work, they found that there were additional elements that were not originally rated as part of the scope of work. So we had to do some extra work there. There was deficient members that were found at Rinaldi, the Railroad Arch, and Route 9 southbound. So we asked them to perform repair details for those elements. And then in the process of doing the load ratings, they had proposed using Ashtoware, BRR software. This software had some problems with it that they have since made Ashto aware of those issues. But that required them to do multiple models in order to get the load ratings performed. So this total of all this extra work is $65,554.05.
Questions, comments from the board? All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
second,
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
I,
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up is the Rinaldi Boulevard Railroad Arch Emergency Repairs. Jeff?
Right, so Majeski Masters was awarded this job back in September of 2023 from the board. They have done all the design requirements for that. And now as we're moving into the construction phase of this project, we need to have someone do quality assurance in the fabrication shop to make sure that the steel is fabricated according to the New York State Steel Construction Manual. These inspections are, usually we either have them done by the designers or the construction inspectors. Since we're doing the construction the inspection in-house, we'd like to have Majeski Masters perform the quality assurance inspections at the fabrication shop. This cost would be $47,130.40.
Where is the fabrication shop?
Well, it's the construction inspection, or the construction people are doing it at their shop up in Catskill.
Okay, okay. The contractor's doing that.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I'm just curious, do they just drop in or did they stay there? They're part of the.
They have to be there during various phases of the construction, like, or when they're welding on, stiffening plates up at the fabrication shop, they make sure that the welding is done in accordance with the steel construction manual. So yeah, they make sure that the various tests have to be done. There's tests that have to be done as part of the steel. All that.
Okay. Well. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
It's 31,736.04. This relates back to the prior figure in the prior memo, right? Or is it, I mean, it's the same memo? Or is it?
I think you might be looking at the second item of the previous resolution.
The load rating item.
Yes,
That was part of the total 65,000 for that extra
Right.
work on the load rating.
right,
Yep.
okay.
This
Yep.
one is 33,000.
This is different. This is 47,000. This is for a different project. This is the Rinaldi Boulevard Railroad Arch Repair Design Initiative.
Maybe I'm then.
I think it got a little, it might be a little,
It's in
I
there.
think it's,
Oh.
yeah.
It's under
This
the,
is, I'm sorry, this is a sub item of the 47,130. So the 33,858.40 that you're referring to,
Ah,
Ilan, is the shop inspection subsection of the 47,000 that Jeff just described.
okay. Because it was mentioned here.
So have we adopted the correct resolution in both instances?
Yes, you did.
You didn't adopt the second one yet,
Right, but the
but
first
yeah,
one is
the
correct.
first one is correct for the, for the system-wide load rating.
Yep.
Now, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the emergency repairs to the Rinaldi Boulevard Railroad?
so moved.
Thank you, Alex. Do I have a second?
Second,
Thank you, Michael. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted.
And you know what it was? We have two $33,000 items in a row.
Yeah.
That's I just looked a little closer. They're
Yep.
they're within a couple $100 of each other.
Right.
Well, no, I'm looking at an
That-
exact figure.
So I think-
31,000.
Yeah, I don't know what you have there. There were two 30,000 some odd dollar things that got added together for the 65,000 that you approved for the load rate.
Correct.
And
One
then-
of them was 31,734.
Yeah.
And then in the next memo, the total was 31,700, the exact same number.
So there was I don't know.
Possibly.
That's all part of the same packet. I believe that's all part of the same packet.
So the load rating had a 33,818.01 plus a 31,736.04
Correct,
for a total of 65,554.
correct,
That was all by itself.
right.
Then there's a memo for Rinaldi Railroad
Bridge.
Arch
Yeah.
repair that the total was for 47,000.
I'm
130.
looking at the attached supplement request totals 31,736.
You got to keep going down a little more.
Okay,
Yes. It does get a little confusing, but yes. But it's the 47,130.40, which is reflected in the resolution that we just.
Okay,
approved.
that's.
So if you go down, it is page 55, yep. I think there may have been some duplicative, pages in there. But the two resolutions we approve line up with the two projects, okay? Next up, we have the.
I don't think we did the resolution for the
Did you do the resolution?
47,000.
Yeah, we just did.
Yes, we did.
We just did, I motioned.
I'm like, we got that.
Yeah. So now we go to the system-wide peer protection study. Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
so back in 2002, the Bridge Authority performed a peer protection study. And after the Francis Scott Key collapse, we're looking to update that study for current vessel traffic and whatnot. So and the need to get a budget number into Chambers' budget process, we need to complete the study or at least get a budgetary number together by December. So we didn't have time to go out for bids for this study, so we're having Majeski and Masters do it as a supplemental agreement under their current general consultant contract. They've given us a price of $480,000 to complete the study. It will probably take about 9 months, but they will have a ballpark number completed for repair work that may be required by December. So that we can get that.
Michael, no, you go ahead. Michelle.
What is the study? I mean, what are the, is there like a list of perceived threats and then known problems, or how does this work?
Yeah, it's a probability thing, and it's under OSHA has a vessel collision guidelines that get followed. You basically look at the size of the vessels that are currently traveling underneath your bridges, and you come up with an 80% vessel size that potentially could hit your piers. And then you got to look at the piers and determine what their vulnerability is, whether they can handle a vessel going that is that big, or whether they need additional protection. And then it's all relative to the channel and the depth of the vessels and all that, of how much pier protection you may need.
So we'll be specific to the types of vessels that pass our bridges.
Right.
And I know I bored everybody with this before. But I've never really gotten a firm answer. You know, with the Francis Scott Key, the thing that impressed me so much was the fact that they were able to shut the bridge immediately and get the traffic off. Do we think we would ever get such warning, and do we have a siren? That's a yes or no question.
Do we have a what?
A siren.
Currently, no.
We don't.
So we don't have
Correct.
sirens, we have for the 2025 capital plan, we're looking at installing gates.
Okay.
That we can control remotely, and they'll have VMS messaging posted with lights and sirens and things to stop the public. Currently, we've just had like informal drills internally to see response times for our own staff. We've had a couple of real life experiences where barges have gotten loose during weather events, and we've had to activate our staff to come in and start to close down. We've worked with law enforcement. So we've had all the conversations on the back end. We've had some loose execution of it. Luckily, we've never had to actually, go.
So
through.
Danielle, you've been notified that a barge went loose before.
Yeah, we've had.
So this is not completely foreign.
No,
Right.
and these barges are, a lot smaller than what we saw with the Key bridges.
Still,
But still they are a threat, and they are something we have to react to. In the last rainstorm, Depression Debbie, we actually had one loose at Marlboro that was headed for Mid-Hudson, and we were able to
Oh,
get
jeez.
staff out there within minutes, if we had to take any action. So I think our preparedness level for what we have in place right now is where we could be, but obviously there's a lot more to do. And, starting in 2025, we're taking all the steps we can with the budgeting and moving forward with that, so.
Beautiful. Beautiful. By the way, we seem to be missing a barge.
Are the other transportation agencies, do they have to, are they doing studies as well? Do we know?
I don't know per se if they're doing studies. Some of the agencies further closer to New York City
Right.
already have some protections on their
I mean,
piers.
I think, I mean, it's not our jurisdiction, but
Right.
I think the most vulnerable would be the Verrazano Narrows, but that's where.
I was told that all the New York City bridges already have the dolphin protections, that the ones that don't have it are the ones going upriver. That is, we are the first ones. So they already, because they deal with larger vessels,
Yeah.
they have been protected for quite a while now.
Okay, all right. It'll be interesting to see what the study informs us. So, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up is the Jobs in Progress Report. Jeff?
Yes, so Bear Mountain Tower painting continues. Both towers have been painted over above and below the deck. It's just the areas right below the joints at each tower that need to be completely blast cleaned and repainted. The contractor is currently doing that operation at the east tower. And they will be completing that soon and then moving to the west tower. So they are on schedule and on budget to be completed by this year. The east approach rehab here at Mid Hudson Bridge, we are in the design process. They have completed their field investigations, given us some alternatives. We've looked at them and they are now proceeding with the preliminary design. That construction should begin next year and the following year. And then the Kingston Rhinecliff approach spans painting project. Contractor has completed painting on the west approach. They are now moving over to begin on the east approach. And that's there again, that contract will be done by the end of the year. And then the last one currently going on right now is the steel repairs at the walkway over the Hudson. And the contractor is moving forward and we are set to be on schedule and even under budget for that project by the end of this year also.
Okay. Questions?
Well,
Lenny?
I,
Comments?
no questions here, but I wanted just, if I could backtrack to the last
Sure,
resolution,
sure.
just simply the study that's being done for the peer protection. Is it simply what the threat would be, or does it, once that they determine what the potential threat might be, what potential design can be implemented to prevent that threat?
Yes to both those. So
Okay.
they will determine which peers are under a threat.
Mhm.
And then they will come up with alternatives for what could be done to prevent that threat and the cost involved with that.
Fine, thank you.
Since we were back, the thing that really struck me about the whole Baltimore incident was the only people they couldn't reach were their own employees. Our folks, we have there's nobody out there that doesn't have a walkie-talkie, right?
Yeah, we have systems in place, several systems to alert people, to notify people. We have an all-call on our radio that alerts system-wide. And it's like an emergency channel, so we only use that in the event of like catastrophe. So we've tested that before in real life situations, but also in testing situations because we've had instances several weeks ago. There was a police chase on Newburgh and police were arresting someone at gunpoint, so we had to, notify maintenance to stay off the bridge.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, real life events, probably, force our testing, but we also have a testing schedule. We check radio frequencies every day, and then we have backups to our backups. So.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Thank you, Jeff. Next up, Brian, the financial, the monthly investment report.
Morning, thank you.
There are 12 investments, all of a routine nature for the month. Those investments are reflected in the investment inventory. The balance in the reserve fund stands at 105.9, actually 106 million. Interest income and yield tick up to 4.74. To note, there was a computational error correction in the main numbers that ticked down a little bit, but still it's over $500,000. We're doing very well. No longer.
All right.
Yesterday's Times was a good article that says that's not gonna drop as fast as people think.
Yep, yep,
I
yep,
think that's a pretty good consensus, so you see the market rates dropping faster.
right.
Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve and adopt the monthly investment report?
So moved.
Thank you, Maria. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Next up, we have nothing in human resources, nothing in IT, nothing in bridge operations. The command center, Danielle, we have the Transcom Open Reach Assessment.
Great, so Transcom has a web interface called OpenReach, and this is the system we use to alert the public of any traffic and road conditions that may affect them within the region. To use this platform, we are charged an annual fee for all member agencies. And this year, our fee is in the amount of $18,094, and we're just asking for approval to remit payment for this.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Second, Lanny.
Second.
I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert, Michael O'Brien,
Aye.
and I vote in the affirmative. The resolution is approved and adopted. Did we add anything for
We
for
put the-
electronic tolling and toll audit? Yes, okay. Jeff, it's a invoice from the Thruway Authority. I will recuse myself.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. I have the February 2024 Easy Pass and cashless tolling expenses invoice from the New York State Thruway Authority. That invoice is in the amount of $782,998.16. The breakdown of Easy Pass and cashless tolling is included in the packet. I would note that this is the first invoice that includes some of the new cost scenarios with our new contractors operating the call center and back offices.
All right, do I have a motion to approve and adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Lanny. I'll call the vote. Maria Bruni,
Aye.
Alex Berardi,
Aye.
Lanny Gilbert,
Aye.
Michael O'Brien.
Aye.
And as noted, I recuse myself. The resolution is approved and adopted. There is no media and public information. Next up, we have a presentation to the board. M&M, Quentin Johnson and Nick Rosigno are going to make a presentation, an update on some of our estimates and any new technology tied to suicide prevention. And we thought it was appropriate to make this presentation today, the same day we are opening the contract for the bridge that we played. So take it away.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
So in late 2021, the authority engaged McChesney and Masters to perform a study of alternatives for safety fencing on all of your bridges. Excuse me. We presented to the authority back in April of 2022. We have been asked to update that report. That's what we're going to be doing today. It largely revolves around costing, so you can plan and budget accordingly. As mentioned, so what we did was we updated the costs of current material and labor costs. Even though construction cost indices have stabilized, we're not seeing that in very recent bids. So we took that into account. Back in 2022, we did not include fencing between the roadway and the cantilevered sidewalks at Newburgh Beacon South and Rip Van Winkle. The authority was considering other options at that point, so we have added that in. And then, in addition to initial costs, we've looked at life cycle maintenance costs and potential damage that the fences can undergo during maintenance. And then lastly, with the new information, we're going to provide some pros and cons of each of the 4 alternatives that we looked at 2 years ago. So just to specifically talk about the gap, what we have shown here is Newburgh Beacon South. The sidewalk goes outside of the through truss steel, creating a gap, as you see there on the right-hand side. And so we've added fencing on both the north side of the cantilevered sidewalk as well as the south roadway side. So 2022 estimates ranged from 10.5 million using chain link fence to a high of 86 million for picket style fence, which is what the style of fencing that you have on Newburgh South now. So I'm going to talk about some of the overall cost implications of what we looked at, but you'll see on the right-hand side that the cost increases from 2 years ago. We upped them from anywhere from 42 plus or minus to just about doubling, and I'll explain that. Overall, each of the options, we looked at 2 additional years of costing, cost data, and as I mentioned, the additional fencing at Newburgh and Rip. And just a quick comment on that, the fencing in the through truss areas of your 2 bridges are the most expensive because of the proximity of the truss members. That is going to be custom fencing, and it's more. We did not reflect that in 2022. We took the time, again, so you can budget appropriately. We took that into consideration. So chain link and picket is more common. There's more price points to look at, cost data. Mesh netting and horizontal wire fencing, there's less data. 2022, the mesh netting, we didn't have a single cost point for that. We know of some installations, but we were not privy to the cost. So we had a supplier cost back then. The horizontal wire, we had one price point for a project located in Canada. So when we relooked at the costs, we realized that the horizontal wire and the mesh fencing should be about the same because they have very common, or similar, I should say, posts and framing. They have stainless steel fencing elements. So we thought the cost should be closer. And so when we relooked at it, we noted that we probably underestimated the contractor markup and install cost of the mesh. But more importantly, in that time frame, we had a very good price point at Verrazano Narrows. It's been installed there. And as it turned out, we upped the contractor markup and installed cost on the mesh fencing, and those are essentially equal. And I know it's covered there. They're both at 90 million.
And this is all 10 foot high.
Correct.
So one of the things that is, a lot of these bridges have permanent railings on them, say 4 foot high.
Mhm.
So that somebody could jump up on that and use that as a basis to start and attempt to climb over. So is that 10 foot total or 10 foot plus the height of the railing?
It's 10 foot total. We arrived at that, I believe, George Washington Bridge, they have a picket style fence and they have 11. In discussion with your maintenance forces and our inspection folks, we settled on 10 feet, total.
And, okay, with the notion that people could still, I mean, so like, it would be really just a 6 foot chain link fence scale.
If it were placed on top of the existing railing, but
Or is there a universal plan to remove the railings?
the universal plan would be to remove any elements of the existing the railings that would facilitate climbing.
Okay, okay. Okay.
Are these numbers just per linear foot? Is it, I mean, say all the bridges were the same length, is it fair to say each bridge would be 1/5 of that? Or 1/6 because Newburgh's 2 bridges?
Plus or minus, with the exception that I gave for the through truss areas. So in addition to initial costs, your engineering department asked us to look at life cycle costs to further compare. Because each of the fence alternatives have different service lives, we use the industry accepted net present value method. The chain link fence, we assumed a 30-year life, and the other three had a 75-year life. For the chain link, we assumed a 2% per year replacement of either further down the road deterioration or damage. 0 for picket. That's just based on our experience at Newburgh. And then 0.5% for the mesh and the horizontal wire. I'll get into that a little bit, subject to potential damage, either from snow removal and or vandalism. I'll talk about that. But the life cycle costs ranged from chain link of 77 million to the high of the other three are plus or minus basically the same at about 120 million. This is 75-year costs brought back to current day. So you can compare apples to apples.
Totally in addition to the purchase price.
That is included in it. So
Oh,
for
okay.
instance, for instance, the chain link, which came in at 20, this cost represents replacing or installing it now, replacing it at 30 and 60 years.
And I'm sorry, the piece of legislation that passed the Senate, which one of these was, it was one of these was stipulated.
The mesh fence was, in the legislation.
Okay,
It only passed one house,
Right,
for the record.
right.
It only passed one house.
right. Just for purpose of what was on the tape.
You're saying that that's assuming it's now, the price now is currently 20 to the chain link, it's 21.5,
Correct.
and you're saying then if it needs to be replaced in
Year
what is
30
it?
and year 60,
Year 30 and 60.
but brought back to present day.
Okay, so if it was 3 times, it would be 60, and then you're saying now it's about 70. So you're taking into account the potential increased prices,
Correct. Inflation
inflation.
and maintenance,
maintenance. Okay,
but brought back to the present year.
got it. Okay.
Can I ask a question? I hope it's not preemptive. So maintenance of the hardware that's being installed, does that take into account any change in the expense for the continued maintenance we do today of the bridges? I'm assuming this impacts how we care for the bridges today, whether it's things going over the side or whatnot that might be impacted by this.
I don't believe the way we maintain the bridges will be impacted by the fencing. One of the biggest concerns we have is being able to do the inspections and even utilizing the UBIU that we have to do maintenance work underneath the bridge. And these fences will not change that operation at all. Our UB is able to clear 11 feet, so that the 10-foot fence would not have any bearing on any work that we do with the UB.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Okay, so with this new information, we put together some pros and cons for each of the 4 alternatives that we looked at. So the chain link, obviously, the pros are the initial lease cost, lease life cycle cost. Due to the size of the size and weight of the elements. It has relatively low forces imparted to the structure. That's important when you get into the nuts and bolts, no pun intended, of attaching it to the structure. Another pro of the chain link is it's commonly used. It is the New York State DOT standard for on-structure pedestrian fencing. Their height is 8. They're not, it's a little different. What's pictured here is the Vincent Thomas Suspension Bridge in California. It just shows you that they color matched it to the paint on the structure. The cons of chain link is the relatively short service life, and then visual impact. I've never heard anyone use chain link and aesthetically pleasing in the same sentence.
Also, snow. I thought chain link was the most difficult in snow.
The DOT, and I think yourselves, you use it as a snow fence. And so it's more flexible than what I'll call welded wire fabric. Welded wire fabric can deform permanently and therefore needs to be, it's difficult to replace. So the chain link fence, you know, if you grab it, it flexes. That is the case with the mesh fence alternative that we looked at. That's a stainless steel mesh. So the picket fence, the pros are its durability and long life, very low maintenance. And when we get to those through truss areas, it's easily customized in the through truss areas. It's used on the George Washington Bridge. It was recently installed on the north side. It's undergoing on the south side. That's the picture there showing of the George Washington. And again, as I mentioned, you have a shorter version of a picket style on Newburgh, and I believe even Rip.
To anybody else, does this look harder to scale than chain link? To me, it looks like it'd be harder to climb this than it would be to climb the chain link fence.
The factor for chain link is to have the opening small enough that you cannot get your foot.
You can't get a
foothold, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So the cons on the picket style, obviously, is the initial cost, 5.5 times the initial cost of the chain link. But it does come down, obviously, when you look at the life cycle. Once you install it, it's there for a long time with little maintenance. The other con is the relative, due to the weight and the size of the pickets, it imparts more load on the structure from dead load and wind load. Mesh netting, pros, I guess you could look at it as the pro is it's 75% of the initial cost of the picket that we estimate. It's more durable than chain link because again, the mesh element is stainless steel. Lower visual impact because the stainless steel mesh is smaller than the chain link. And due to the weight and the size of the mesh elements, relatively low forces imparted to the structure. As I mentioned earlier on, we didn't have a price point 2 years ago, and now it's used on the Mario Cuomo Bridge. They actually use 3 different styles of fencing on the Mario Cuomo, but they use the stainless steel mesh, the High Bridge in New York City with New York State DOT, and as I mentioned, the Verrazano Narrows installed there, and the RITBA, Rhode Island Bridge Authority, they're considering it on their long span bridges as I speak. Cons, it is over 4 times the initial cost of the chain link. But again, the maintenance and the life cycle costs bring it down to 1.5 times the cost of the chain link. The horizontal wire fencing, this was kept in our study 2 years ago as a low visibility alternative. Again, the strands are relatively small, more durable than chain link. Again, the weight similar to the stainless steel mesh imparts lower forces to the structure. I guess a pro could be, well, you can point to two examples that we know of. One is the high-level bridge in Edmonton and the Clifton Suspension Bridge in the UK, which happens to be publicly used but privately owned. But we did not find any examples in the States. That doesn't mean they don't exist, but we just didn't find it. I guess a con could be the same thing. But the con that really rises to the top is that ladder effect.
Yeah.
It gives the impression that it's something that you can climb.
Yep.
It provides grips and footholds, as we mentioned. The Edmonton Bridge, which is pictured here, was vandalized twice shortly after it was installed. Somebody with bolt cutters zipped right through those lines relatively quickly.
Oh my God.
And then another con is the similar high initial cost as the other mesh alternative. So I wanted to end with, this is a slide that we gave 2 years ago. Future steps that you would need to go through to implement this. And that is, and this was brought up with the Bear Mountain and the Mid-Hudson. Suspension bridges, you just don't put a fence or a barrier on a suspension bridge without studying the impacts of wind and wind tunnel testing. So that is baked into your RFP for Bear Mountain, so good job there. And then obviously the secret process. That's where the public involvement and visual impact assessment and your coordination with SHPO is going to take place.
Great. Questions, board members?
Good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think, in light of the award of the Bear Mountain Bridge contract and this update, I think we, both the board and the Bridge Authority staff are in a good place. I'd like to think about how we roll this out publicly. And any of the board members have thoughts on how to do that, give me a call. Because I think, as we know, this has been a very sensitive, emotional issue in addition to the engineering and public safety issues. And I want to commend the Bridge Authority staff and our consultants for all the work that they've done and how we move this forward. So I think I'd like to digest what we approved today, what we heard today, and then talk to the staff about a plan for public rollout for the Bear Mountain Bridge and this information as well. And anybody that has any thoughts, let me know. Last year about this time we had the conference. So I think in a year, a lot has been accomplished. Thank you to the staff. So, yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody. We have no old business or new business. That concludes today's agenda. Our next meeting is September 19th. I may have a conflict on that date. I will know later this week. So if I do, we may be polling the members to see, look at alternative dates. And if not, we'll just proceed. Okay. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn today's meeting?
So moved.
Thank you, Michael. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Maria. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Today's meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. See you later.